country which often plays the card of internal matter when a foreign country tries to intervene into an administrative or communal issue within India. And when it comes to the issues happening outside India also, India only did minimal interference. And when we did intervene, it was more when it directly affected India or as a part of preemptive strategy to avoid threats that would happen, that would affect India in the future. The first time when India took a strong foreign policy was during the rising tensions between US and Russia, which is known as Cold War. First, India tried to hold talks both with Russia or Soviet Union and United States to de-escalate the Cold War. But back then, none of these nations, none of these powerful forces took India very seriously. But when India, with other like-minded developing nations and countries like Belgium and all, took a strong stance to not join neither Russia nor US if there emerged a third world war, which was known as non-alignment movement. These nations were unable to pretend like they didn't notice. Later, in 1965, when there was Indo-Pak War, countries like US and Russia intervened. They broke a ceasefire, and while our then Prime Minister Sri Lal Bahadur Shastriji was attending peace talks held in Tashkent, Russia, he died under suspicious circumstances. Later, India made intervention while civil war broke out between Sri Lanka's government which was mostly composed of the people of Sinhala community in Sri Lanka and which was opposed by terrorist organization Tamil Tigers or LTT. Rajiv Gandhi made this bold move as a preemptive strategy to avoid the military intervention of Western countries in countries like Sri Lanka, which bordered India. But sadly, India's IPFK was not able to restore peace in Sri Lanka. Rajiv Gandhi in India was assassinated by LTT's suicide squads. That was in 1991. And thereafter, for a long time, India was resilient on non-interference. But recently, the situation is starting to change. In a previous video also, I have mentioned this opinion that India might not be able to stay in the neutral zone. India is making strong opinions in the matter of Russia-Ukraine war. First, as a part of India's fuel policy. Like any common man in India knows, the fuel bonds struck by India with foreign nations was not in favor of India. And after Narendra Modi government has come into power, they at several occasions have mentioned that they are making frequent attempts to strike fuel deals, oil deals that is more in favor of India and Indian taxpayers. When it's time to renew these deals. Countries like US, being the monopolies that they are, was not showing any interest in relaxing prices. And while Russia-Ukraine war came in, US and its allies strike sanctions against Russia. And while Russia reciprocated, there was scarcity of oil commodities like electricity, etc. And there were financial tensions, economic tensions rising within European nations. And it also affected oil-rich countries like US. India, at this juncture, took oil from Russia at lower price. And India's forex strength had a rapid rise once India started buying oil from Russia, increased buying, and they were sold to Western countries. Even US corporations were taking oil from India while sanctions remain. Made by US against Russia. Now, India is trying to hold peace talks between Russia and Ukraine to end the war. It appears like Russia recently is expressing interests for India's intervention. The recent developments of this war also, Ukraine's army was able to get inside the territories of Russia. Now, Ukraine also at several occasions have asked, demanded for India to intervene. They even when saying that Russia can't avoid if India demands to end war. But even while India is intervening, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is making attempts to bring peace talks going inside Ukraine, even while the war is taking place in nearby places within Ukraine. And while also holding talks with Russia, both these countries are not showing any signs of making genuine attempts to de-escalate the situation. For one thing, although Russia has first expressed interest for India to try to bring peace, they, on one hand, while talking peace, is making strikes in the territories of Ukraine at the same time. A couple of months ago, countries like US, Egypt, etc. tried to hold peace ceasefire talks in the matter of Israel-Gaza war. But these peace talks were also a failure from the beginning. Because, for one thing, these ceasefire talks were hosted by Qatar. But like it is like it was preferred in most of these kind of talks, Qatar is not a nation that stays neutral in the matter of Israel-Gaza war. Qatar is more inclined towards the cause of Gaza and Palestine. Another funny thing about this is that Gaza's Hamas has rejected invitation to these peace talks. So these are peace talks without the main participant of the war being involved. So in my opinion, if there are no much improvements made in the attempts to make strike a peace between Russia and Ukraine by India, it will be much better if India stepped back. Anyway, if India is able to strike peace, it will be much better. Countries like US are not showing good signs of interest in bringing peace into the matter of Russia-Ukraine war. As a part of US sanctions against Russia, two Indian companies which was a part of Arctic LNG 2 project of Russia in supply of energy. There were two companies which are brought under this list of sanctioned companies by US. The absence of a strong international agency to de-escalate such situation, it's quite visible. The current situation, feeble attempts made by belligerent nations or third-party neutral nations like India is being treated irresponsibly by many other national governments and their leaders. They are acting like unruly teenagers, causing ruckus in a classroom. Anyway, let's hope things will improve when we go ahead.